Now for the poison type evolution in Amber
Hello,
episode
everyone,
26.
And welcome to episode 26. I'm Gabe.
I've seen
and
what it
today
looked like
we'll
on the
be
thumbnail,
taking
so
on the
it
poison
looks
type
about what I
game.
thought it would be.
But first,
Basically
let's do a
Jolteon,
recap.
but purple.
In the last episode, you used your new
Well, to be
ride
fair, when you think of
Pokemon
poison
Parker
barbs,
to
it makes
sail
sense, you know?
across Route 12.
Sometimes,
Your
if
way
it's a
into
stereotype,
Professor
it makes
Pikachu revealed that she
sense.
plans to continue
Or
the
something like
risky
that, like,
legendary
or
Pokemon
let me rephrase
research
that.
Side
Sometimes the
Pack
most
hinted at.
obvious choice
You defeated
is the
her
correct
in
one.
battle, but
There,
she
that
was
sounds
defeated
much
and
better.
moved out back to the Cenozone lab at the center of Paleo Bay.
So one of those legendaries can resurrect all the false Pokemon, but I wonder what the other one can do. Maybe it kills them all again. Maybe it's the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Why not make that a Pokemon? Everything else is. I'm still waiting for the kitchen sink to be a Pokemon. That'd be in the last generation when they finally decided to stop making Pokemon games. Like, here, kitchen sink, we threw everything at you.
And a restricted gate with a large 8 stands in your way.
Ah.
Cenozone Lab is out of reach for now, and there
We only got like 6 or 7.
research station, but you do spot a final Pokemon type research arena. You run inside
Or not.
expecting to find a water type researcher, but instead the interior is filled with pipes.
How do we get to 18 if
pumping
this is the final
gurgling
research
purple
center?
liquid. You do also find a note left behind.
Sorry, Professor Ginkgo just sent me on an emergency mission on Route 13.
Oh, dang
I'll be
it.
back soon. Serena, the poison
Can
type
only
head
imagine
researcher.
Not
why.
having the time to wait for her to return, you use your Pokéride
Help
signal
me.
again and begin sailing across Route 13 to find her. You battle wild Pokemon as you search for her. There's Primal Omastar, Primal Kabutops, Dunklevish, Laparkto, and even the rare Fossage.
Okay.
In addition, the
A new
currents are
Pokemon.
quite strong out here. This dangerous
Oh,
path
okay.
actually serves as our poison type puzzle.
Interesting.
There are
Okay.
jagged rocks and currents that whip you this way and that.
Didn't think you'd go
and
for
little
water in a poison type area,
barriers
but
and
don't go by
valves and
stereotypes, I
pipes.
guess. Plus, we
And
were expecting
flashbacks
water
to,
areas, so, you know.
Soul Silver,
Why not?
navigating all the whirlpools and stuff. So I wanted to do an homage to that with a little bit more. So you gotta, spin
Plus,
some
water's
dials
kind
to
of like
flip the
poison. They're both
direction of certain
liquids,
whirlpools
sort of.
and different eddies and whatnot.
And
Oh,
Percy
and
Jackson,
during all
Percy has
this,
power
you
over
sail
poison
past
because
a
it is
small
still a
island
liquid
that
at the end of the
is
day,
fenced off
and he
with a massive
is the
restricted
son of the
gate
god of
labeled
water.
with a huge 16. In fact, you've seen 2 other massive doors with 16.
How the hell do we open these?
But we will tackle that mystery soon. I promise you. You just
With
make a
this
mental
thing, your
note.
badge numbers
Eventually,
automatically count as
you
2
do
gym
find
badges.
Serena, the poison type head researcher, on a small beach island. You hop off of your Laparkto.
Okay,
and
that's
rush
an interesting
after her.
design. I
Well,
was expecting the
if it isn't
glasses,
professor's
but
little
hey, you know.
assistant. I'm surprised
Not
you were
bad
able
looking.
to make it out here, but I'm very busy. The professor said an outside Pokemon was spotted on this island and that I needed to catch it. Wait, what? You think that Professor Ginkgo told me that just to get me out of my research building? Well, that's just not cool. I need to get back to my research building then. Someone needs to remove the toxins released into the bay by the professor's research. And
Yeah.
when you get there, I suppose I could put you in your place real quick.
Put me in my
We'll see
what?
if you understand the frightening beauty of poison-type Pokemon.
Serena
I didn't
calls
question
out
you.
her
What are you
own
talking
Pokemon
about?
And flies back to Quarter Ocean Station.
I told
When
you it went up to a
eventually return,
no-go place
you
or
find
something.
that she is ready for your battle. Serena leads with her Primal Persian,
Okay.
which you know pretty well, and you're able to knock it out.
Yeah.
Next up, she sends out Halusip, but she follows up with its evolution.
Oh, okay.
We're
Getting
popping
its
back to the
evolution.
Hallucigenia
Alright.
inspiration for this one, and we'll be referencing the fact that this animal was initially
I like it as
reconstructed
mustaches.
upside down, so it will find
I
a
like the
with
mustache
right side
idea.
up when it evolves.
It's
Those
funny.
silly little spiky legs are now massive
Woo!
defensive quills,
There's a
and the
Ric
noodles
Flair
on
woo.
its back are now a bunch of more practical legs. I actually liked the little curly bits on its back from before and wanted to maintain that, so I gave it a couple of long whiskers. These are also a good parallel for the little frontward-facing arms that the real Hallucigenia had. The last big design element that I wanted to pull in was bubbles. I just love the idea of it generating these poisonous, hallucinogenic bubbles.
It's
that,
pretty
you know,
fun.
surrounded
Well, not
itself
fun
with
for us, but
as
you
an
know.
added defense. Now, there's a good amount going on with this design, but I think it doesn't quite cross the line into being cluttered.
Yeah.
in conjunction with the pose, it's
I guess
lifted up to spout bubbles. I think that it makes the
might
head
go a little over the top
intentionally
in my
ambiguous at
eyes,
first
but
glance, which
it's
I
not the
like.
end of the
We
world.
gotta keep that weirdness in there still.
Yeah,
All right, let's take a look at Halutrip, the confusing Pokemon.
even
This
its shiny
bizarre
isn't too
Pokemon
great,
produces
in my opinion.
powerful
But that, again, that's
poison
my opinion.
that
If you
affects
like it, go right
perception.
ahead. I ain't gonna stop you.
Halutrip blow bubbles filled with toxic chemicals and swirling vortexes of psychic energy. Contact with one of their long spikes or floating bubbles can leave someone in a daze for hours. Halutrip use their psychic abilities to ensure their bubbles never pop on their trainer. And this ability is bizarre.
Well, good
Picking
thing
this up,
you're
it is
protecting me.
Contact with the Pokemon may confuse
When he's
the attacker.
when he said it
It
never
is
popped, it just reminded me of
slow
that
but
yellow
strong,
fish
and its
from
ability
Finding
to
Nemo, the
poison
one obsessed
and
with
confuse
bubbles.
Your Pokemon, it's a big hurdle to get through. Eventually, you do knock it out, and she follows
Trucking
up with
bubbles.
the evolution to little Primal Cranidos.
Oh, okay.
Now, a big shout out to those few who guessed that this line would be gaining the poison type. We'll be keeping the general
Not my
pose
first guess.
the same. It'll still be running into
But I
its
guess when you
opponents with its
freaking
big
like
old dome
throw
head,
every
but we'll be
Pokemon
switching
type
up
at the
the
wall,
personality,
eventually
which
one's
will
gotta
be a
stick,
lot less
right?
angry, and bringing in the imagery of a beaker of volatile chemicals.
Interesting.
This
I like that idea.
transparent
That's cool.
Vessel of broiling liquid kind of makes the body also look like a lava lamp, which is.
By the way,
pretty
did you
cute.
know that the Gen 4
This
original
silly,
designs
mad
got leaked somewhat
scientist
recently?
Chemistry look was really just a.
There's some
happy
cool
accident.
ones. Rampardos actually had a
A
completely
result
different look.
of
I
me
recommend
wanting
checking
to
it out
use
if you
the
got the
poison
time.
and steel type.
I think there's
of
some
course,
videos on it.
did this design before the little engine
Shorts, at
designs
least.
of Generation 9 came out, but I'm pretty happy with this combination of types. It's cute. Let's take
I
a
like
look
it.
at Primal
This looks
Rampardos,
great.
The head butt.
The black and white's doing a lot of heavy
The
lifting, but
bulbous head of this
to be
ancient
fair, black and
Pokemon
white
is
together
filled
is
with
just
a
like a
volatile
already is a combo
Primal
that just like
Rampardos
made in heaven.
prefer to slosh
Never
their
looks
poison
bad.
around in a threatening display rather than risk damaging their brittle heads in battle. If forced into combat, their poison-laced heads can deal an extraordinary amount of damage. And its ability
steal
is
poison.
touch,
That's
and
gonna be
that means
annoying
it
to deal
may
with.
Poison targets whenever it makes contact. So it's like poison points, but for being on the offense.
I see.
Its poison steel typing takes a while to overcome, and you lose more Pokemon.
Here's flamethrower.
After it falls, Serena
Well, that's
chooses
just
the
cheating.
middle
Yeah, and it
stage
works.
Of our pseudo-legendary line. Yes, we are finally getting to Fossage.
Okay, 3 new Pokemon here.
I know that a number of you have been clamoring for this design to finally show up. We met
I mean-
Fossage like
I'm
forever
sure those
ago,
people
but,
exist, but I
you
wasn't
know,
one of them.
Pseudo-legendaries evolved so late that I just had to keep the evolutions until late in the series.
Fair enough.
Our adorable lump of poisonous goo is going to become an awkward teenager.
A
I
dog.
wanted to show that this is a lot more, capable. It can actually walk around, even if it still feels really unnatural. The whole line is slowly developing and pulling itself into something.
It looks like a dog. You
And
can't,
this
you
is
can't
with
tell
the
me you don't see
transitional
it.
stage, which still has its own personality. Oh, and I really like this color palette. It's kind of fun because it's very close to the color
Taking a look
palette
at my
of
dog just to be like,
Legendaries,
did you?
which
Never
it'll
mind.
make a lot more sense lore-wise when we eventually get to that. But let's go ahead and learn about this middle stage. This is Sludgeolum, a
Okay.
new life Pokemon. Fossage, who master the bone fragments stuck in their bodies, evolved into this shambling, spiky Pokemon.
It's supposed to be on 2 legs. I thought there was like
Balance on
one in the
thin
back,
bone
but no,
legs,
it's got one
allowing
arm.
them to clumsily walk about instead of slowly sliding everywhere. Researchers
Progress,
suspect
I guess.
that their gooey bodies analyze and copy the trace DNA present in the fossil pieces, allowing them to continue developing. Its ability is gooey still, and that slows down the attacker whenever they make contact.
Okay.
Sludgeolum,
Neat.
while goofy and adorable, decimates most of your team before it.
And imagine it would if
With
it's a
one Pokemon
pseudo
lucky,
legendary.
Serena sends out her ace. Poison Eevee time.
Okay.
There are some different directions you can go with a poison design.
Yes,
The
there
first
are.
route is a, gloopy poison.
I
Eevee.
thought its eyes were
Since we
crossed for a
just
second,
had
just like, it's
Sludgeolum,
crazy.
felt kind of redundant. I've also seen some designs that incorporate iconic poisonous animal traits like scorpion tails or cobra hoods, but these always feel a little tacked onto me.
I don't
So
know,
the
cobra
route that
hoods
I
and
chose
scorpion
to go
tails
with
sounds a
was
little cool.
spiky. I decided not to give it the regular floofy evolution tail, instead playing off of the set of spikes that Jolteon has, but, exaggerating them even more. kind of like it has like a sea urchin on its butt.
Yeah.
This makes for a pretty impactful silhouette and lends itself to a surprising amount of personality. I think the tiny mohawk of spikes helps too.
Yeah, it
Look like a
does.
little punk rock.
Makes it a bit more unique
I
too.
did have someone comment about the upcoming Poison EV by saying that they just didn't want it to be all spiky.
Sorry, pal.
Sorry to disappoint, but I really like how this one turned out. Alright, let's learn about Toxeon, the quilled
I like it.
Pokemon.
I like the sea
This
urchin-esque
poison
design.
type
I think I remembered on the
evolution is
thumbnail it looked
covered in
spiky. Maybe that
long
might be my
poisonous
brain just
spines.
misremembering.
Toxeon are playful and confident, but keep
You know?
others at arm's length for their own protection. Trainers who form a strong bond with this spiky Pokemon may receive
pretty
gentle
fast.
nuzzles
Yeah.
from the unquilled parts
110
of
in
Toxeon's
speed.
face. Its ability is poison points, obviously,
Of course.
and that may leave an attacker poisoned. It comes down to a couple last moves, but you are somehow able to knock out Serena's last Pokemon.
So much for putting me in my
She
place,
pats her
eh?
Toxeon on the head and
And then gets spiked.
Alright, that was quite the battle. I'll be honest with you.
Dang, it's
Professor
wearing rubber
Ginkgo
gloves,
told
so
me
she'll
not
be
to give you
fine.
the last access code needed to get to Senozone Lab, but you earned this fair and square.
With your final access code acquired, you will be able to pass through the restricted gate and make your way to
Nice.
Senozone Lab. But before you can do that, it seems that 3 of your Pokemon are
Oh,
ready
boy.
to evolve. But
The alternative
we'll see
starters.
What the Splice starters' final evolutions are in the next episode. Thank you all.
Alright,
so
we
much
got
for
mostly new
watching, and
Pokemon.
please
This one
leave a
was
like
cool to
if
see
you
the
enjoyed video.
gym
A
area,
huge
we'll just
thank
say.
you to Serena for being our poison type gym.
I like the design. I like the
As always,
holes in
I'd
the
love to
bottom
hear
of
your
her
thoughts
lab
on
coat.
today's
Like she's
episode
been
down in
so
the comments
obsessed
below,
with
and I'll see you
doing
in
her
episode
work that her
27.
coat started
Bye.
getting eaten up, and she's just like, oh, that sucks. Anyway, moving on. She's a woman that's obsessed with her work, which workaholic. If you like what you do, what's the expression? If you love your job, you never work a day in your life. Something like that. And she clearly loves her job. This guy loves the freaking poison types too. And they got a lot of cool designs, so I ain't gonna blame you. Got a lot of cool evolutions here. It's just like, I forgot about these, let's add them now. Going with the poison type was unexpected, but hey, you know, I'd go against expectations, right? Would have been so. Imagine if it's just like, here's a giant water area. Here's a fire type gym leader. Then again, that might also be too predictable. Just like, man, it would be so funny if they had a fire type right here. No, poison type. Okay, I didn't see that one coming legitimately. So yeah. It goes even more against stereotypes, because now it's against the stereotypes of what is going to be water, or the opposite joke. And plus, hey, there are poisons in the water, of course. There's poisons everywhere on Earth. You can be poisoned at any time, for no reason. I think the Ramparos was the best one to me. Although the EEVEELUTION looked pretty good too. The Poison Neon, or whatever you called it. Toxeon. That looked pretty dang good. But yeah, I like the idea it just like had the poison ball thing as its head, like that. So that's where it came from over time. Toxic orb was like from these past 9 generations or something like that. I like to think that's the origin story, like it's a head canon. But yeah, cool new Pokemon, cool new Professor, and cool stuff overall. So why do you say we move on to the next episode now? Now we have evolutions for Paradox Pokemon.
Hello and welcome
In
to
episode
a Gen 9
26.5.
bonus video. I'm Gabe, and today we'll be giving some evolutions to the past Paradox forms from Pokemon Scarlet. So,
I guess they
here
didn't.
is a quick
There are some Pokemon that
spoiler
didn't get
warning.
any.
If you
Okay.
somehow have avoided the late game Paradox forms up until now and don't.
I mean,
like
I
the show,
haven't seen
now is
them
your
all.
chance
I've seen like
to
the
boogie out of
Dawn
here.
fans and stuff like that,
Alright,
but like the
so,
obvious ones.
in
But I haven't seen them
particular,
all.
We'll be looking at Screamtail, Sandy Shocks, and Fluttermane for the evolution.
Well, where Fluttermane and
Finally,
the
we
Jigglypuff,
were
the
ready to take on
Magneton, not
the
so
challenge
much.
As I just completed the decks, though I am playing Pokemon Violet, and God, as far as Paradox forms go, the future forms are in no way as cool as the past forms. I mean, each generation.
I think they're all
prefer to
lame,
get
but that's
the game
me.
That I feel like will sell
Here's a
us.
Pokemon, but it's a
After that
robot
first
now.
trailer, I
Oh,
thought
be
people
still,
would be
my
flocking
beating
to Scarlet,
hearts.
So I pre-ordered Violet
Heck.
then. I mean, I'm having a blast with Violet.
Hey, if you're having fun with
After
the game,
seeing
that's
all
fine
the
with me. I'm
Paradox
just saying my
forms from
opinion.
the past, I really wish I had chosen differently. Alrighty, alright. Screamtail.
That's an interesting
time.
gimmick. One is
And of
past
course,
focused, one's
since
future
this is
focused.
a
Okay, that's a
past
pretty
form
good way of
Jigglypuff,
just
we actually
differentiating the
get to start
Pokemon.
with our own version of Igglybuff. Now, I know that I am not alone when I say that the Gen 2 baby Pokemon that were introduced are pretty lackluster. I mean,
it's fine.
Pichu is pretty darn adorable, but
I like
most of the rest of
Elekid.
them are just
Magby's
kind of
pretty
there,
cute.
and that includes Igglybuff. I mean, I guess it is cute, but that is just about it. So, we're gonna give it a bit
I mean,
more
granted, Igglybuff is
personality.
kind of unnecessary, but I guess they're trying to make it like a
Baby,
Pikachu, I
right?
guess? I
But,
don't know.
sometimes babies are horrible little nightmare machine monsters.
Sometimes.
So that's where we're going. I have been justifying past Jigglypuff's name. It has Scream in its title because it hasn't mastered its iconic singing, so you get a scream instead of the singing. So our little baby is going to be screaming. Babies like to
Great.
scream. That's their thing. So our past Igglybuff,
You would
is
know
going
from
to be a
experience?
terrifying, angry little
If
baby
not,
who is
you
always
will.
throwing a fit. The eyes can stay the same.
Not
but
that I would speak from
with a
experience,
little
I'm just
furrowed
saying.
brow, sharp little baby tooth in the mouth, and cute little eyelash markings that
Cute.
Screamtail has. But here they're gonna start out as like red eyes, kind of teardrop shaped. Oh, and lastly,
This
to
thing
show
looks like it wants to
that it
hurt
will
me.
get that super long coiffed hair, it'll get messy baby hair with flyaways.
This isn't adorable.
Right.
This wants to
Let's
hurt
take a
me.
look at Tantrum Tail, the balloon Pokemon. This tiny baby Pokemon is never in a good mood. Researchers have
And
tried
never with a good
everything
name, given
to
the past
appease
forms.
Tantrum Tail,
Here's
but it
Iron
is
Tail.
in a
What's it called? Like
perpetual
Iron
state
Tail or
of
something? It's
rage.
like
Its
something like that.
high-pitched
It's just
screams
dragon
can shatter
wings.
glass.
Eh?
The bravest
What's wrong with
of trainers
Salamence or
dare
Donphan?
train
Why'd you
this
change the
baby
names?
And its ability is Cute Charm, because it's
Ugh.
still cute. And that means that it can sometimes...
Maybe if I played the
actually
game, I'd
attack.
understand it better. It's one of
Well,
those.
the other thing
I
I'll
don't know.
say, we're going to be tweaking the stats of like
Old
Scream
man
and
yells at Cloud.
Obviously, in the games, like they're kind of post-game content, so they have really, really good stats. In
I'll
this,
say, I
we're
think the
gonna
Miss
justify it by
Magius
saying
new form,
those
Fluttermane,
Pokemon
is
in Pokemon
frickin'
Scarlet and
busted,
Violet are like,
from what I've
I don't
heard.
know, temporally boosted by time travel or whatever. That's why their stats are so good.
Okay.
Here, their stats will be comparable to their like modern day equivalent. So, Igglybuff and Tantrum Tail have the same base stat total.
Okay.
Now, I really like Screamtail a lot, so having to deal with Tantrum Tail is, the
A
price you
nightmare.
have to pay to get it. I love how much I dislike this baby Pokemon. Like, it's a prime example of a puntable design. I would definitely, just kick this thing.
I'd just be
So,
staying away
anyway,
from this
it
thing because it looks like it's gonna
evolves
eat
into
my feet.
Screamtail, and then it evolves again. So, let's work on our past Wigglytuff. There are some theories about why the
He just
current
makes Wigglytuff
Paradox
the
Pokemon
guild
are
leader.
unable to evolve, but I'm gonna go with the explanation that them being pulled out of time.
They weren't in the
leaves
game
them
yet.
Partially temporally locked or something. So
They had to
they
rush the
can't have any
game
major
out.
changes like an evolution. Whatever, it's fine. But since for us,
Why would we finish the
the
designs when we
Pokemon
can
would be
not work on
restored
bugs?
from the Alien region, restored from fossils. So there's no time travel.
being a jerk? Probably.
And we can bypass that evolution stopping headcanon reasoning of mine. So give little Screamtail a Moonstone, and we get this. A Wigglytuff
This
who is just
thing.
freaking rock star.
I like
so
the Elvis
cool.
hair.
We're bringing
That's pretty
all
cool.
of that hair forward, and even swooping Wigglytuff's ears forward as well. The little fangs that it had before now get to be a big set of intimidating chompers. And along with that cute pose and that little smirk, this design gets, a really fun personality. I mean, it's adorable as heck, but
The ears
it's also
become
ready to
part of
rock
its
out.
hair.
It's like
That's
a
kind of neat.
screamo, emo rock star. And also we gave it a tail because visually I needed to offset the hair a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
And lastly, I decided to have some fun with the shiny. Okay, this is Wailing Tail.
Oh, you had a lot of fun with the
rock
shiny.
star
But hey, it
Pokemon.
works.
This
I like
sassy
it.
Pokemon has finally mastered its
I like to think it would get along well with
and can successfully
Toxtricity
hypnotize
from
others.
Gen 8.
Wailing Tail are very arrogant and don't like to be challenged. If anyone touches their hair, they lose control and attack with no restraint.
Of course they do.
Trainers are urged to stay on this Pokemon's good side or risk being lulled into a sleep and abandoned. And its ability is competitive.
Heartwarming.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
And so that means that its special attack raises a whole bunch if it's ever hit with a stat-lowering move.
Okay.
All right, you'll have to let me know what you think of this full paradox.
That is a
line.
funny thing to happen.
always
I use
loved
Intimidate on
Really
you.
Tough
Okay,
because,
you freaking
know,
get
it's
stronger
really
then.
bunny-like, and I love bunnies. But you'll have to let me know, again, down in the comments, if you'd plop these round mons on your team. Okay, next is Sandy Shocks. Let us see what past Magnemite will be. Now, Sandy Shocks isn't quite my favorite paradox form, but I really appreciate how inventive the design is. You know, it's a magneton, but it's also part Unga Bunga caveman and a dinosaur silhouette. Very cool.
Fair enough.
with
I didn't
just
even think
a little
Dino sit
single
dance.
little
That's a little
Magnemite,
cool.
We've got a pretty straightforward design here. It's just one of those, you know, little guys that are already present in Sandy Shocks. Now, I've finally started coming around on the Magnemite line way back in Gen 1 when I was just a wee little youth. I remember seeing Magnemite for the first time and being like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I'm going to abandon this
and I am certain
franchise. That
it
didn't
is
happen.
what gave me kind of a general dislike for Objectmon. Now I've softened over time.
You grew up and realized there were
I'm pretty
bigger
excited
problems
to
in the
work on
world.
these evolutions. Anyway, honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about the design process here, so let's take a look at Dusty Shocks, the magnet
Okay.
Pokemon. This ancient form of Magnemite
Kinda
has not
neat,
mastered
kinda
its
neat.
powers of electromagnetism and lacks the
Walks on
ability
all
to float
fours.
in the
Huh.
air. Instead, Dusty Shocks constantly grounds itself to the earth. Researchers suspect this primal form originated from space. And its ability is Magnet Pull, and that...
Because at the end of the day, it is
Like
still a
Pokemon.
magnet, even if magnets haven't
Yeah,
been
it's-
invented yet. I'm
it's
kidding.
really
The
cute.
magnetic force of the
I would
earth.
love
That
to
was
see
a
those
joke.
little nerds, you know, scuttling around. But now, let's take a look at what Sandy Shocks will evolve into.
I swear those black
I know that I
things on the
just
edges
said
of it
that
just
I've
remind me
warmed
of
up
like
to
the
Objectmon in general,
some black
but,
things that
yo, I
go
still
around magnets.
kind
I
of
don't know.
hate
I can't explain
Magneton.
what they
I
are.
mean, I can appreciate that the Gen 1
Just think of
design
things,
trope
I don't
of
know.
more of the same thing added on didn't continue, but Magnezone just never really gelled with me.
It's a UFO.
Okay, so going back to Theoryland, I know that others have guessed that, like some other Pokemon, Magnemite comes from space. And I can get behind that. And I can imagine that, you know, it evolves to become more...
You base it off of the War of the
finally
Worlds,
landing on this
like alien
giant
spaceships,
Magnezone. But in the
but with a
past,
magnet.
we're going to say that it's trying to look intimidating by copying the dinosaur body plans of some of the other larger Pokemon around it. That'll be why Sandy Shocks is roughly shaped like a theropod dinosaur. So now, when it evolves again, it will need to go bigger. And it's gonna take on the appearance of a massive sauropod.
That's kind of
And
cool.
I really like
Again,
how
a little bit of
Sandy
War of
Shocks
the Worlds, at least
still
from I
looks
think it was
a
like
bit
the
awkward.
50s
I
version,
wanted to
but with
maintain that
legs and a
strangeness
tail.
here. So the false head,
Kinda cool.
the fact that the legs are a little long, and the eye is actually being placed in the center of the chest, all maintain that awkwardness. Oh, and also, since it's from space, I wanted the long legs to give it kind of the appearance of the War of the Worlds tripod.
Yeah, I was thinking
I
that
know
too.
It has 4 legs, but tripod. You know what I mean.
Hey, whatever.
Let's
One
take a
more
look
leg.
at
Who
Earthy
cares?
Shocks, the Magnet Beast Pokemon. This ancient form of Magnezone has rearranged the components of its body to blend in with the larger and more intimidating Pokemon around it. Earthy Shocks doesn't realize how poor its disguise is. and tries to
They'll
hide
never
from
know.
completely different Pokemon.
Even Pseudo
It
Wudo
fully
looks like a
remains
freaking
Magnet
plant.
Force,
You
Magnet.
don't
Yeah,
buy
it's
as a
big,
dinosaur.
It's silly, but I kind of like it.
I like that the
Let me know what you
thing on
think,
top is just
whether or not
floating
it's
there.
The right balance of bizarre.
It's not connected in any way, just floating.
Okay, we've got one final design to knock out. Fluttermane.
Okay.
Now, I guess Fluttermane is in some way supposed to be related to extinct flying reptiles.
Is it?
Which I think is hinted at with like the scale pattern that's going on.
Okay.
So I started out trying to pull in some more pterosaur influences. This proved difficult. I initially thought I could get the wings kind of pulled around its head.
But didn't want to
create
work.
the brim of the hat with the claw fingers grasped together right in front of the face, but this ended up being a bit too busy.
Clearly.
You know, the top of the head too, I figured I could treat it as a pterosaur crest, but
That didn't want to
the
work
spikes
either.
to work was very difficult. I ended up falling back on the familiar hat as I was.
So I took its legs off like I'm Ash.
I wanted the head to
O.R.
remain
Ash, to
very
be clear.
recognizable.
Not Ash Ketchum.
I also took the little dangly dress tendrils that Miss Magius has and pulled those up into full arms, complete with a couple clawed digits. But between the exact hat shape and the arm position, this just took me forever to finalize.
I can tell.
Just the
Look at all
shape,
those
getting them
feathers.
So, like Fluttermane, I think this is recognizable as the Pokemon.
Yeah,
while still
very much
straying
so.
away from the silhouette an appropriate amount. The colors were all
Why is only
pretty
one
fun to
side of
deal
the
with.
thing green?
And we also ended up with a nice, loud, shiny.
Mm.
I've been mostly pulling in influences from the other Paradox forms, but Fluttermane's shiny colors led to a particularly festive look. Alright, let's learn more about this ancient witch. This is Wicked Mane,
Huh.
the cackle Pokemon. Somehow,
I like its
this
look.
ancient form of
Looks good.
Mischievous shares some strange connection
Green,
to other
not so
extinct
much, but it's a
flying
stereotypical
reptile
witch
Pokemon,
coloring.
though the exact lineage remains a mystery. Its scales flutter like feathers as it effortlessly floats about. Researchers suspect this Pokemon was one of the first to master fairy-type magic.
Ooh,
And its ability
interesting.
is
The
something
lore.
new that I'm calling Old Magic, and that means that this Pokemon's moves will deal more damage as long as it moves last.
Interesting.
Somehow, I don't know, just the addition of the arms, I think, makes it more dangerous looking.
I'll say.
But what do you think? I'd like to
Come
hear
here.
your thoughts on all of these
I just don't
new
get why
Paradox
one arm is green.
Which is your favorite?
It's just weird to me.
What do you think of the naming convention? And is there any other Paradox form that you wanted to see get an evolution?
No.
With that, I just wanted to say
I think the
thank you
Magnezone
so
takes
much
the
for
cake,
watching
though.
this
Mostly for the
wonderful
War of the
bonus
Worlds
episode. Leave a
dinosaur
like
combo.
and
That's
subscribe
cool.
and
I
all
like
good
that.
stuff. And I'll see you in episode 27
The rest is
of
like
Pokemon
fine.
Amber, where we'll be meeting the Splice Starter final evolutions and get our very first
Yay for
legendary.
them!
Alright, see you then. Bye.
Good for the starters. Not the starters. the split evolutions. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on a rant about Paradox Pokemon. I'll just say that these designs look really good, and I like the Magnezone one the best. The Wigglytuff and the Igglybuff look fine as well. Except the Iggly. I don't want to encounter that tiny Igglybuff in a small alley. If it was the regular Igglybuff, sure, but not that one. That one is just no. The Miss Iggius one looks good as well. I think she took second place. And, what was the other one? The Magnezone was up. No, wait, I already said the Magnezone. What am I saying? The Magnemite was cute. The Magnemite was cute. A little baby caveman away. I didn't notice the dinosaur aesthetic thing with, like, the Magnezone, right? That one flew over my head. So, thanks for pointing that one out to me. I guess I can have a bit more appreciation for the Magnetons. Who knows? Maybe in a bit. Maybe, you know what? I'm not the Paradox forums now, but maybe in a few years I'll come back and decide, you know what? This was actually a pretty great idea. That can happen sometimes. Time heals all wounds. Sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes you think this is a really good idea at the time, and then you decide this is terrible. I don't know. They turn around. Who knows? Maybe I'll have more nice things to say about Paradox Pokemon in the future. Who knows? I don't even know if they're going to do more in the future. I don't know if this is going to be another regional variant sort of thing. How many times can you do time travel? I mean, you can do regional variants forever just because that's somewhat realistic to real life. But time travel? I don't know about that one, Chief. Who knows? I also don't know how it's implemented into the story, to be fair, so, is it, like, part of the plot, or is it just a thing that occurs? Just like, oh yeah, those are time travel Pokemon. They're what? Yeah, don't worry about it, bro. I'm gonna worry about it. Honestly, I can see Pokemon go either way. Fast and loose with the rules. But yeah, a lot of new Pokemon in these past two parts, but they all look pretty dang cool. Not every single one was a winner, but overall I think they were good. So, yeah. Good work to all the new Pokemon, and we are filling out the Pokedex again really fast at this rate. So, good. We'll be done with all the new Pokemon in no time at this rate. Have ourselves a complete Pokedex. So, nice. Hey. It was cool to see. I think the Magnezone and the Ramparts took the cake for me in these two parts, though. Or was the Ramparts was the last part too. Okay, then they're neck and neck, but of course they're dinosaurs. So maybe that says something about me. I don't know. The War of the Worlds aesthetic is going over because I really like those movies. Both versions. I haven't seen all of the series one, although I've heard mixed things. From what I've heard, it's like, okay, here's the thing with aliens invading, but what about these this couple in a relationship? Will they? Won't they? You can have that as a side plot, but I want the aliens. I didn't sign up for a will they? Won't they? I signed up for aliens. I know, like, it's a thing that the humans have to take priority to save on the special effects and all that jazz. I don't have a problem with that. It's just like, you know. It's like going into a Godzilla. It's the freaking problem with Godzilla 2014. Where the frick is Godzilla? The Mutos being there were fine, but it's like, I want more Godzilla. Although I guess they fix that more in later movies. I don't know. I kind of stopped with the MonsterVerse after King of the Monsters. The one with Ghidorah. Anyway, I got nothing else to say. So, cool new designs for the Paradox Pokemon, and yeah, I'm glad they give them some support, because, you know what, even if I mock them, they do deserve some more love, so yeah. I'm fine with giving them some more love. They don't offend me or anything like that, just one where I think that's dumb. Anyway, but you people enjoy them, that's fine. Anyway, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed, or if you didn't enjoy it, that's fine too. Fair enough, right to our own opinions on all that jazz. I'll see you all in the next one, so until next time, goodbye!